Now more than ever, we need a healer in every single community. While my mission has always been to inspire a movement where there's an herbalist in every home, again, we also need those dedicated community healers. The ones who feel confident recommending herbal remedies, supporting lifestyle shifts, and nurturing body, mind, and soul. The ones who understand how the body works and how herbs work with the body. The ones who can create personalized remedies and find the most accessible, effective healing protocols for each individual. We need community herbalists, those who step up as the healers in their neighborhoods, workplaces, and beyond. And if you've ever dreamed of being that healer, I want you to know that our Community Herbalist Certification Program is beginning this January, and applications are now open. So this is a year-long program that gives you lifetime access to all the core content, so you can revisit it on your own time and deepen your learning journey whenever you need. The application process is super easy, and you'll even have a chance to hop on a call with me to make sure that it's the right fit for all of us, for you, and for the amazing community we're building within the program. So if this speaks to you, if you're ready to be the healer in your community, to deepen your herbal knowledge and help the people around you in amazing ways, now is definitely the time to apply. You're going to find an application link in the show notes to this episode, and I truly can't wait to meet you and support you on this incredible herbalist path and journey. Hello and welcome to the Herbalist Path, a podcast where you'll discover how to make your own herbal remedies at home so that you can take better care of yourself, better care of your family, and better care of our planet. I'm Mel. I'm a clinical herbalist, environmental educator, and mountain living mama with this crazy passion for teaching more mamas and their little loves how to use plants as medicine in a safe, effective, and tasty way so that there can be an herbalist in every home. Again, it's an absolute honor to have you on the journey down the herbalist path with me so that together we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. I am so thrilled today to bring this guest, Miss Brittany Williams from Eudaimonia Herbs, on the show for you for so many reasons. Yes, she's a great clinical herbalist. Yes, she's a great educator. But most of all, she's freaking fun and brilliant and has so much incredible herbal knowledge and stories to share with you. And quite frankly, I just really enjoy talking with Brittany. So I really think that you're going to enjoy this show as well. So thank you, Brittany, so much for being here. I didn't give like much of a bio or presentation about you right there. So if you want to add a little to that as to who you are and what you do, that sounds amazing.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here and talk with you as well. It's always fun. Let's see. I've been in this, I don't want to say game because it's not really a game, but I've been doing this thing for over every time I have to say this, and almost 3 decades. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Almost 3 decades now since I started it way in the beginning. And it's been a heck of a journey, a very fun journey. But I love the fact that, I'm always learning, and there's always something new to learn about herbs, which is the most amazing. That's like what makes me so passionate about it. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And that's awesome.
Same. Yeah. It's such a joy. Like, oh, I'm never going to get bored with this topic.
Right?
Hooray.
Always something new. Always something new. And that's it. I mean, you said it, clinical and educational, educational herbalist, been at this for 3 decades or almost 3 decades. And I'm just happy to be here.
I love it. Awesome. And thank you so much for like that brief intro. And of course, we're going to talk so much more about you and your story. And I would love to backtrack to little Brittany and how you got into this world of plant medicine and herbalism, all of it together.
Sure.
Share
In
it.
the beginning. No. It's funny. We kind of, I won't say I'm kind of the black sheep of the family, but I kind of am in the sense that I come from a family of educators, which is great. That's where I definitely have. I feel like the education is in my, it's in my genes. It's just running through my blood and my DNA. But I also come from a family, like the amount of doctors in my family is ridiculous. And so here I am, the herbalist, who's having the discussions with the doctors. I always find it to be really, really fun. So I think from the very beginning, my uncle was the first doctor in our family who, again, very different things, but got me interested in health and wellness and just the idea of our bodies and how to support our bodies to be well, right? So this started, and then, so that was, I think that seed kind of got into my head really, really early. And then it started when I went to college. I went to the University of Maryland in College Park. And I always tell this story. I walked into this herb shop that is still there. Anybody ever wants to know? It's called Smile Herb Shop. It's not a paid endorsement. I just love the shop. And it was your typical apothecary, right? You've got these wood floors and wood shelves, and you've got it was like Harry Potter. You've got like all of these herbs across the wall. And I was just like, it's just the smell, I don't know, the hominess of it. And I was like, I need to know more. I need to know more. And that's how it started. The bug got me then, and I haven't turned back. I started out with more herbal body care. I was doing, body butters and salt scrubs before that was a thing, and lotions and toothpastes and deodorants. This makes me sound super crunchy, but I was, and my kids and my family are my guinea pigs, still are. And that's how it all began.
I love that. I think that a lot of people really start with the body care, right? And like the basic herbal remedies that you would want to use to help your kiddos. Like you're a homeschooling mom as well, even though you have adult children now. And there's something that is so powerful in knowing that you can take the majority of your children's health and family health into your own hands. Yeah. And then, you start dabbling with those fun little recipes and the lotions and the magic potions. But then you're like, holy crap, what's really going on here? And how deep can we go? And that's the never ending cycle of learning in this world.
And even just wow, that really worked.
Yeah, that was the best. I think I still get that one today where I'm like, oh my gosh. That worked. Yeah. Oh, right. Duh. That's because you put this formula together of these plants that you know so well. And yeah.
That's the lovely part.
That's the surprise element.
Every time, which is still like, hello.
Yeah. I love that. That is so fun. And I love that you're still experimenting with your grown children. Like, how do you feel like their perspective on all of it is?
I have got to say, it is one of those things that besides the education, taking control of the education of my children, this is the next best thing. I guess it is part of education as well. But I love the fact that, we have our little home apothecary that's stuck to the side of our refrigerator with all of these jars and like the potions and bottles and droppers and all of this stuff. And I love the fact that my, almost 19-year-old will call me from school and be like, hey, mom, I need some more immunity tincture. Can I come home and get it for the weekend or whatever? Or my daughter's like, hey, I need some more cough tea. Or actually, I have some mullein here. Mom, do you have, that is the best, that they have totally embraced it. And it's become a part of their life. And that is just, that's, mother's gold right there. That is, so I think they like being the guinea pig. The only thing that they do not like being a guinea pig for, and almost flat out refuse, is fire cider. They're like, no, Mom, please don't make me take it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common thing. Like I can make some darn tasty fire cider, and there's no way in hell I'm getting my daughter to take it. But I have this one particular student who's been with me for a long time, and she has this little boy named Philip who is so adventurous with his taste buds and all the things, and he loves fire cider. He loves it, and he's like not even 5 yet. He's like,
Oh,
Mom,
that's
I'll have
amazing.
more, right?
That was probably my thing. I didn't start until they were, in 10, 11, 12. If I had started at 5, I could have hooked them in and they would have been fine.
They would have never known any better. This is truly tasty. But I think you've got a really valid point there. Like that is a mother's gold. Like that to me is winning in all the ways.
Yes.
When for me, my daughter's a bit younger than yours, but like we can be walking somewhere and something will happen, or, I can just say to her, what herb would you take now? And she knows what to talk about. And I'm like, yes, that's smarter than 95% of the United States population of adults. Right there. Like that is such, if you ask me, that's like, I mean, obviously I'm biased because like you, I've dedicated my whole life to this.
Right.
At least my whole adult life. And it's like the best skill that you can teach a child.
Right. It really is. I mean, to be able to, I think the biggest thing is pay attention to your body. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that I think is really lacking when it comes to our health and our wellness, is that we have no idea what's going on with our body. So we're sure as heck not going to be able to make responsible choices about how to support our body. And so when you start off really young with your kids and incorporate that into their life, and that just becomes a part of their thing, where they're like, I might feel a hint of a something in my throat. Let me start this now. Or Mom, cold and flu season is coming up. I hate that stupid fire cider, but I'm going to please let me have some. Like those things, or allergy season is coming up. Let me just prepare. That is just, again, gold. And the fact that they have this awareness of their body, I think is really, really important.
I think that is so true. My daughter has a much greater awareness of her body than I ever have. Right. She, like, since she was a wee little one, she'd be like, Mom, I don't feel good. I'm like, you're not showing any symptoms. You're good.
What are you talking about?
Bam. 2 days later, like, she's either sick or she like has that runny nose. That's like, oh, there's a symptom, but we got on it nice and early. Yeah. So she's not really coming to full fruition with an illness. So yeah, what a beautiful
And pretty
gift.
soon she'll get to that stage where she won't, and this is the crazy thing, is she won't even tell you that she has a symptom. You'll just see her digging around in your apothecary, and you'll come down and she's got the tincture bottle in her hand, and you're like, what's going? And that's like, oh, okay. All right, you guys do your thing,
She's already doing that kind of thing. Like she deals with some nervousness and anxiety, and yes, we know there's so much you can do from the root there, but that's part of her personality and way of being. And she's just like, Mom, I need more of these herbs. I need more of this because I'm out. Yay. I love you. Like, this is so amazing that you know this. Yeah,
absolutely.
What a beautiful gift.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a beautiful gift. It's wonderful to see.
I love
Very
that.
rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. In so many different ways. And yet to have them be intelligent enough to know that there is a time and a place for an actual medical doctor.
Yeah. Oh,
and
absolutely.
I find that today, with this huge explosion of so many people using herbal remedies and finally recognizing that Big Pharma may not be here for us. That the healthcare system might be broken and might be a bit more of a sick care system. A lot of people tend to be like, okay, it's natural. That's all I want to do. I absolutely refuse anything. I will not take medications. I will not go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to bring that up because I have a feeling that you have some insight on that particular topic.
I have found, and I think this is one of the things that I benefit from having a bunch of doctors in my family, to be able to bounce a lot of things off of them. And I know I'm learning a lot more from them than they are for me. And I only say that because they're not asking, right? They are still typical doctors. They don't, they're getting a little bit better about understanding how supportive herbs can be. But I understand the line that we walk with our current medical system. And I understand, and these are things that, I want my kids to understand, that it doesn't have to be either this or that, and that they can work together. And I do think that's one of the challenges that we need to overcome going into the future, is being able to find those support systems of working together and kind of bringing it full circle, knowing what's going on with your body. You can tell, right? You start to be able to learn that this is something that I can fully support my body with herbs, or this is something where I'm going to need some outside support. I don't have an x-ray machine, so, those are, and, we kind of laugh about this in my family and another close family that we're with. We say, well, when the zombie apocalypse comes, we will still have some knowledge that will be able to really take us a long way. And that's just really kind of cool to understand how the two can marry, and to be able to speak with intelligence, knowledge, and authority with those in the medical field, with the doctors and whatnot, about what's going on and what are the best steps to take,
Absolutely. I think that is a really, really important take right there. Like, how do we communicate with them in a way that says, hey, I've got some awareness of what's happening here. I have some understanding of what can be done and with alternative methods, but right now we need the extra help. But we also don't want to go down a rabbit hole of extra help, so to speak.
Well, and I do, yeah, absolutely. And I must also say this as a Black person living in the United States. There are many challenges that people of color, that the BIPOC community have to be aware of, especially when you're talking about the medical community. There's been all kinds of experiences that I've personally had where assumptions have been made just based on how I present when I walk in the door. That is just like, okay, I need you to take a step back and let's have this conversation. Stop looking at what you see with just your two eyes in the first 2 seconds, and I can actually have an intelligent conversation with you. No, I'm not, falling into what some feel are stereotypical boxes, and learning how to advocate for myself, teaching my kids how to advocate for themselves, teaching my clients how to advocate for themselves. And it's really many different marginalized communities. It could be the Black and Brown community. It could be women. We all know how it is being a woman and going to see a medical professional. It could be larger bodied people. It could be, the list goes on, and learning how to kind of walk this line and advocate for yourself, I think, is really, really important to be able to do.
Can I get your attention, please? No, seriously. Can I get your attention? Or are you just going to be scattered all over the place like so many other people are? No, I'm asking because Wish Garden Herbs has this amazing product called Attention Ally, and it's a focus friend for kids. And as we head back to school and everybody's ready to get their study game on, or if you're a homeschooling mom, gosh, oh golly, you've got so much you've got to focus on too. And this Attention Ally from Wish Garden Herbs is going to help you and your kiddos stay nice and focused. So they use milky oat tops and passion flower and skullcap in there, which are all going to help kind of support and calm the nerves and the mind. So that scattered kind of ADHD brain, not to say that they're claiming ADHD by any means, but speaking for myself, so that just kind of calms down a bit. And then there's There's gotu kola and nettles as well. Like the gotu kola is going to bring circulation to the brain. It's going to stimulate the memory and help a person be able to stay focused and stay attentive to the things that need to get done. Plus, it's got some cinnamon in there, which gives it a really, really nice flavor. They put it all together with organic alcohol, Rocky Mountain spring water, and some glycerin too. So it's nice and tasty. Your kids aren't going to refuse it. And the other super duper duper cool thing, I mean, there's tons of cool things about Wish Garden herbs, but this one in particular, like, have you ever taken a tincture and you have to unscrew the lid and you have to squeeze the little bulb at the top and then you've got to take the little dropper and put it in your mouth? Well, Wish Garden herbs is amazing, and they have created, well, I don't know if they created it, but they use this little spray pump. So you can just spray Attention Ally Focus Friend right into your mouth. Your kiddo can pop it in their backpack and take it with them wherever they're going to learn and spray it in their mouth when they're just like, uh-oh, I need to start really being focused and clear here. So anyways, I love Wish Garden Herbs. I love the people that run this company. They are absolutely, hands down, super stand-up herbal products company that I recommend from the highest of all highs. So definitely check out their Attention Ally Focus Friends. I'm going to link to it in the show notes for you. Click the link and get your focus on.
I think you are absolutely right. And obviously, I don't have the perspective from being a Black woman or a person of color. I am a very white woman who now has darker hair, but it used to be blonde, and I don't know what that feels like. And that definitely puts me in that position of privilege. I do have the judgments of being a woman, and I've had my body in various sizes throughout life and see very clearly how differently you're treated when you're a little bigger than you were once before. People treat you incredibly differently. But I really want to dive a little bit deeper on learning how to advocate for yourself in those scenarios. Can you just offer a few tips?
Sure.
I mean, obviously that's lifelong learning in and of itself, but where can someone start to feel more confident of hey, this is what I do?
I think what people have to, so there's different sides, right? There's not sides, there's different perspectives. Coming from an herbalist perspective, there's that, and talking about with my doctor about an herbal protocol that I may be following, and how that might sync up or not sync up with whatever they are suggesting, and being able to say, well, these are the things that I'm doing, and being able to speak knowledgeably about what it is that I'm doing, and ask them for, if they don't know what's going on or you're trying to figure it out, talk about doing a differential diagnosis. Like, let's work through this. Let's talk through what's going on. But on the other side, in terms of advocating, I think it's important to know your worth when you go into a doctor's office. Know that you deserve to be there. Know that you have a right as a person to get good care. And if you're not getting that, it is 100% okay to get up and leave. You can get up and leave. And I think many of us think, oh no, that's embarrassing. I don't want to do that. I have been in a doctor's office where I have said, thank you. You can stop now, and put my little panties back on and put my clothes back on and walk out the door. Obviously, it was an OBGYN that I was seeing. Right. I should probably put that out there. But it's okay to do that. It's okay to question our medical professionals, whether it's your herbalist, whether it's your medical, whether it's your, your general practitioner, whether it's a surgeon that you're about to have surgery for. Question them, ask questions. That's what their job is, to be there to answer those questions. And I think that's in any setting. I think that's the number one thing you could do. Know that you deserve to be there. You can ask questions, and it's okay to leave. Yeah, it's okay to leave. If you're getting bad service, leave.
Mm-hmm. I love those tips. And you're right when you brought up it's embarrassing, or some people might feel, oh, it's rude. I've just got to be nice to this doctor.
Right.
Well, when they're not giving you what you need, you don't. Like you can, and maybe think of it in this perspective. Maybe you just might, if you're lucky, raise awareness for that doctor to say, hey, this is an avenue in which I could grow and learn and shift and change, if their ego is open to such a thing.
Yeah, I've definitely had both of those situations happen where I've had to leave and I've actually had the doctor call back and apologize and give a bunch of reasonings. And I've also, had a situation where I've left and never talked to them again. And both are, again, okay. It's just important to know that I forgot what. Some movie where doctors, they aren't the end all be all. They don't know everything. And that's why it's okay to question. And again, if the service is bad, you have to leave, and that's okay to do that. And you probably, if you ever have to do it, you will feel awkward. There's like let's just be honest, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel awkward. But these are the things that we need to do to ensure that our health is serious. We only have this one body to live in at this period of time that we're going through. We have to make sure that those that are helping to keep our bodies well are on our side.
Absolutely. So. And I think one thing that's really important to bring up here, like I love all of the things and tips you just said. You do have a great advantage, and that's you have an incredible knowledge and skill set with being a clinical herbalist and with understanding how herbs work on the body and working with so many other people one-on-one and in all the other ways that you do. Not everybody has that. And that's where it's important to work with your doctor and maybe even work with a clinical or even just a community herbalist that can help you guide, learn, and be able to speak intelligibly to these doctors, right?
Yeah. And ask the right questions, because I know there's many times that people go in and they're like, they don't know what to ask. They don't know what to expect. And so being armed with those kinds of questions can be really helpful. And it's taking charge of your own health. It's really understanding this is your body. You're going to be your best advocate. And that's a good thing. And I will say the first time I had to advocate for myself, I was I was 21 years old. The first time I questioned a doctor, the first time I went in and was like, you know what? I don't think this is the right sir, I don't think this is a situation for me. And I remember calling my mom and being like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And she's like, you know what to do. And I'm like, I do know what to do, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to go, I'm a baby, I'm sure, compared to this doctor, but you do. So you may not feel that you have the knowledge, but again, if something feels off. And I strongly urge people to act on that intuition that you have, those feelings that you have, and do what needs to be done. And again, advocate for yourself. And it is challenging, but it can be done no matter where you are in life.
I agree. And I think that intuitive piece is a big thing. It's really huge. And when we're only 21, we're not in touch with that. Like, I've definitely recognized the older I get, I'm 46 now, like, oh, those nudges and pings that have been happening for all of my life. It's okay to listen to them. And not only is it okay, it's significantly more wise.
Yes.
Which is, it's really come up prevalently for me recently, because a community member and friend of mine was recently murdered in our community. And I used to go to her property to gather eggs or get eggs from her and whatnot. And I always remember feeling a feeling of ickness there. And I knew that it was her husband. Like, I knew that inside. This is like 13 years ago that I would go there. I knew that. And now here I am, a couple of weeks past her death. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was my intuition saying, hey, there's something off here.
Right.
Anyways, totally off subject and really, really heavy. But I mean, intuition, it's powerful, and it's a gift and a skill to learn to listen to it and
absolutely
give it
that gut
love
feeling.
and respect, you know?
Yeah. And I think some of that definitely comes with a lot of that definitely comes with age. But when and I know this is kind of, these words have been thrown around a lot lately, but those gut feelings, you feel things in your gut, and that is a real significant indicator, as people are calling the gut your second brain, all these different things. And you do have these initial feelings of intuition, whether you feel it in your brain or in your gut brain or something. There are these like feelings that kind of go on sometimes, and it is important to at least be aware of them and give them some credence.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we've just talked some heavy stuff, I feel, but really important stuff. Really, really important stuff. But I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. You talked about how you raise your children around herbs forever and ever and ever, and what a gift that is to them. But let's talk about those herbs. Like, as a mom, from the young little babies that you have to the big adult babies that you have, like, what were some of their favorite herbs and your favorite herbs as a mother to be like, bam, I got this plant ally in my pocket. Things are all right.
It's funny because even after all of this time, there are still these classic herbs that it's almost, I don't want to say embarrassing, but it's almost like you hear stuff about chamomile, right? Oh, chamomile is great. Da, 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 da. Chamomile is the bomb. Like, it is a wonderful herb to work with. It is lovely. And all throughout time, from a young one to an old one, catnip, those were, really great in our family. We worked with yarrow a lot, elderberry a lot. These were really big ones in our family. And it's funny, my favorite herb of all time didn't even become a thing for me until maybe the last decade. And that's Tulsi. I wish I had, right? Tulsi is my boo. I wish I had Tulsi when my kids were, I had it when I wish I was using it more and had more knowledge about it when my kids were so young. And now it's like, that is my favorite herb to work with.
Yeah.
These days, like I said, maybe in the last decade or so. But those, and then of course the powerful culinary herbs. I call them the Fab Five. I love working with mint, oregano, rosemary, sage, and thyme. They are super easy to grow, super powerful herbs, super accessible. I know when I first started really diving deep into herbalism, I fell for what many of us do. And I was like, oh, herb, and let me get the cat's claw out and see, which is great. It's a great herb to work with, but it's totally not necessary for the majority of the things. So let me find this rare herb that is, from the mountains of such and such, and use that. And that's great and fine and dandy, but completely unnecessary. You can go out in your yard, your plantain's just fine. You can do that. The nettle that's growing there that annoys, the crap out of you, that's just fine and super effective. So definitely those classics have been spot on for when the kids.
Yeah. And there's a reason why they've been spoken about for centuries and centuries and used for centuries, because they are incredible medicine. And like, this is that interesting balance. Like, herbalism can be oh so simple, and yet it is so complex,
Yes.
But as we're on that motherhood journey, like, let's stick with the simple, because we have enough difficulty in the journey of being a parent altogether, right? So like, work with those herbs that are superpowers. Like, each one that you talked about obviously are huge herbs that I love as well. And I love that you brought up Tulsi and how it's kind of like, I'd say for me, it's been like the last 5 years that I've been like, Tulsi, where you been all my life? Like, why have we not been hanging out for 20 years? Like, what's going on? You're so yummy. You're amazing medicine. And in fact, I was just reading an article from my good friend, Dr. Orna Isaacson. She's a naturopathic physician, the one I talked to you about imposter syndrome.
Yes.
She had just posted an article on Blue Sky, and it was like, hey, this is a pretty heavily political space, but there is a good Tulsi out there. And it was this great article talking about all the scientific research and studies going into Tulsi and what powerful medicine it is for so many different things. And it's delicious.
It's delicious.
Delicious. It is great body, mind, spirit, all of it. Like
all of those things can be worked with in so many different ways. It's funny because I would definitely say with a lot of my clients, I'm a tincture girl, like especially for meeting people where they are, being able to help them this is great, but I don't think it's possible for me to drink, a cup of this tea 5 times a day. Unless I have a catheter or something.
Right, exactly.
It's going to be a problem.
Right.
And so I definitely lean heavily, but when you're working either with those who can't do tinctures or young ones, although I did do tinctures with my young ones, I had no holds barred. No, I had no problem with that.
Yeah.
But Tulsi is one of those ones that I recommend as a tea because it is delicious, because it checks so many boxes, and I don't get tired of it. And a lot of folks that I work with, they don't get tired of it either. So it is a wonderful herb. And it grows so well in my area. Like the amount of Tulsi that I have that is ridiculous. First, it's the lemon balm. Lemon balm is just out of control in my yard, and passion flower, which I absolutely love. But I do have a love-hate relationship with passion flower to me. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm sorry.
Oh, please passion flower me. Like, especially now we're recording this in mid-December, like the most stressful time of the year. Let's talk about passion flower. Go on that tangent.
I'm going to go on a tangent. Passion flower to me, and I apologize in advance to all you cat people. They're like cats. Right? I love cats. My daughter has a cat. He's somewhere in the house right now. But we all know that cats, are you going to bleep me out? The cats can be a little ornery. Let's just put it that way. Cats are going to cat. And I feel that way about passion flower. It is lovely. It is beautiful. Of course, the medicinal actions that it has in your body is amazing. But that sucker is taking over my garden. Like it chokes everything out. The first time it just spontaneously started growing in my garden, and I was like, oh my God, this is fabulous. I don't have to source this from anywhere else. I can get it right in my own front yard. Lamont, talking to my husband, don't touch it. Don't take it out of the garden. Just let it do its thing. That was the biggest mistake, because it was like, oh, you want me to be here? I got you. Choked out all my tomatoes, choked out my lavender. It gets a chokehold on you. So I've been having to try and tame my passion flower, and it will not be tamed. It will not be tamed. Every part of it, with the doctrine of signatures, those lovely little curlicues that help with that circular thinking and just kind of help bring that all down. Those also will grab onto anything and everything in a brief amount of time and hook onto it and never let go. So yeah.
That's when you need to go back in time and be like, Lamont, I'm sorry I ever said this. Attack the passion flower. Get all of your clients to like, can you come over and I've got passion flower for you.
This is exactly what I do. Please take it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. What a beautiful flower, though. And yes, aggressive.
And it attracts the most lovely bees. It's wonderful to have. It just is a little bit of a blessing and a curse, I will admit it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I was a bit envious when you said Tulsi grows really, really well for you. I've yet to be able to get it to grow really well for me where I am, but I'm in a cooler climate and I'm lucky to get much for sunshine at all. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to tend to it a little bit better to make it just go crazy, because I love it.
Well, don't feel bad. I'm laughing because it is so embarrassing to admit as an herbalist. Tulsi grows great. I can grow a ton of different, I've got elecampane growing. I've got, bee balm. I've got all these wonderful things. Of course, my culinaries. The one thing that I have managed to murder has been mint. It will not grow for me. Just specifically peppermint and spearmint. Of course, anything else in the mint family, lemon balm is ridiculous. Like it's all over the place. I can grow my other Limiaceae family things, but just the straight up supposedly invasive mint, which I don't believe people anymore because it is not invasive. It's not invasive for me. It won't grow in a pot in the ground. I'm like, sure, take over my lawn, mint. I'm all here for it. No, it doesn't. It's not maybe the passion flower pushed it out. I don't know.
That's so funny because mint definitely takes over anything where I am, but then I'll go for the lemon balm or the Tulsi or culinary basil or catnip. Like I can get the lemon balm and catnip to grow, but I'm like, Kate, could you start taking over more of my yard? And it's just like, no, I'm just going to hang out right here. I'm like, but wait, you're a mint also. You're supposed to go crazy. What are you doing? Yeah. So anyways, oregano goes crazy. Goodness gracious. Could it just stop?
I love oregano. Oh my gosh. It is. And just a side bit, I really, a lot of different herbalists say this, look at where you are. You'd be so surprised what is growing in your area. I'm in Baltimore City. I'm in more of not a downtown area. So we've got single family houses and everything. But all up and down my street are ginkgo trees. It's crazy. Up the street, I'm definitely known as the crazy person where I went to my neighbor and was like, hey, can I cut some of your tree? This is a linden tree. Did you know that? Can I cut your tree? And he's like, a what tree? But it is, a lot of herbalists say this, and I can't emphasize it enough. If you're interested in herbs, start with what's growing immediately around you. You would be so surprised at what's actually growing there.
And then it just becomes so much fun. Because you develop this relationship with that plant and you can go for your walks and be like, oh, hi, lovely linden. For me, linden is a hug. Linden, I can feel a linden tree's branches wrap around me in a loving, embracing hug to just say, hey, whatever shit you're going through right now,
this is going to be okay.
It's going to be okay. I got you. know, and
my secret blend is the passion flower that's going crazy and my linden and a little sprinkle of rose. Goodbye.
Hello. Everything's all right. We can handle this climate of weirdness in our world right now. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
Oh gosh, I love that so darn much, especially that you have the linden around. And it's such a valid point that you just made, that there is so much incredible medicine all around us. Even if you are in the city, the closest city to me is Portland, Oregon. So I mean, it's already a city full of hippies and weirdos and whatnot, but there's medicine everywhere in that city. There's hawthorn trees, there's linden, there's albizia, and it's everywhere, right? Medicine is everywhere you need it to be. And when you start to pay attention to these plants and to the fact that some of them are medicine, they'll jump out at you right when you need them and be like, hey,
hello,
I'm here for you.
I think that is one of the things, if I were going to change anything about my journey, that would be the one thing that I would change, is paying attention to what was around me earlier. When I first started all of this, I was mainly working with the cut and sifted herbs, right? They're dried, they're coming to me in bags or jars. And, over the years, I've been able to identify them, but, a bunch of green and dried herbs look very, very similar, right?
Right.
And so as you are more experienced, you begin to be able to tell them apart, but there's nothing like actually working with the growing plant that's roots are in the ground and watching it over time, through the seasons, and really, like you said, connecting with it. That's next level. And
that's a whole nother medicine.
It's a whole nother, exactly. And it's a very beautiful thing to do. And I would flip it for folks in the reverse from what I did. And that is, don't always go towards those already dried and cut and sifted herbs. Find out what's going on. Look at what it looks like fresh, smell it. Lemon balm fresh is a completely different animal than lemon balm dried, right? And, basil, your culinary basil, totally different creature, fresh than it is dried. And so I think it's really, really important to kind of understand not only some of those differences, but seeing what it looks like and smelling it and touching it. And that's really best done with what's growing in your area. And I think that's the one thing that I would do differently if I were to change this.
I love that. I love that so much. I was really fortunate that I kind of chose that route. Like, I first started learning like what's native around me, because I kind of got into this because I was in environmental and experiential education. So I did a lot of tree and shrub plant ID classes.
Nice.
And, that had me go, oh, crap. Like, this stuff is medicine. That's not just a tree. Wow. Okay. And then I decided to follow that route. But I would love to hear from you if somebody is like, hey, she's right. I should get to know what's around me because it is easier. It's more affordable. I create that relationship. How can people start doing that and feel safe knowing that they've got the right plants?
There's so many, again, being older and having some experience, since I've been doing this for a while, there are so many resources out there. When I started, my first herbal books, they were sketches, which is great, but like a little pencil sketch doesn't really give you the feeling of what something looks like in real life. And so you've got the internet, which wasn't a thing when I started. That
right.
Ancient, but you can look up a video very, very quickly. And I know a lot of folks are like, don't go and Google. I'm a big advocate of utilizing what we have. We have Google. We have all of these things at our disposal. It's not your only source of information, but it can be a source and a really good one. And of course, there are books. There's this one series, I can go get it if we have the time, but it just talks about it's regional. So you can buy it for the region that you're in. It has wonderful pictures. I'm sure there's a plethora that exists, and you are able to identify what's growing in your area, find out what to be careful of. There's also that guy, Sam
Kaufman.
What's his last name?
Kaufman. No.
Is that the guy? He's like he works a lot with the Black Forager, or not works a lot, but they've done a lot of things together. And this guy, I think it's Sam, he's got this wonderful, I think it is Thornton, right? Did you say Thornton?
Oh, I said Kaufman, but I don't think it's the same person now that I hear you speaking more. So, yeah.
He's got this wonderful book that is super extensive. I think one of the biggest things to be careful of are the lookalikes. Knowing your wild carrot, knowing your Queen Anne's lace from your hemlock, and not messing the two up and knowing how to identify them. That's really important to do. And I understand how that could be intimidating to people. Don't let it intimidate you. Like, just do it. Just step out and do it. You'd be amazed at, there are a lot of herbs that do have lookalikes that may cause some reactions, but there's also a plethora that do not. Mm-hmm. And you can start out with some of those and just identify them and use different ways. Look at the book, look at the app, look at the picture that you saw on Google. These are the ways that you can kind of narrow it down so that you can feel, and then, of course, interrupting myself, and then seek out other herbalists in your area. That's actually number one. That's where you should start. I guarantee for a lot of folks, even if you're living in the most rural of areas, you'd be surprised at the kind of herb walks that will go on in your area, that you can actually walk and talk and see again in real life what these things look like, how to identify them, some of the best ways to use them. And that can be a really beneficial resource to start out with and then expand from there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of that. And you can also, like, if you're out and about, if you are like going on a camping trip or something, like stop by the Forest Service or whatever branch manages that and talk to the rangers, talk to the people there, like what plants and other things are here and how can I identify them? But yeah,
you're naturalists. They'll talk you to death. They love talking about that.
Yeah. That's how I got into this world. So yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think it's really, really important to take those walks with the herbalists and spend time with those plants because they are powerful and amazing. And you will end up with better medicine than you will get with those dried, cut, sifted herbs. Absolutely. Not that all of those are bad, but they're definitely not great.
and you're right. And to get a little other esoteric addition to it would be the spiritual connection that you get with these plants when you engage with them is something that you, at least for me, couldn't even imagine is possible. And the type of insight that you may get that has nothing to do with the sniffles that you may have or the little boo-boo you may have on your finger. It may have to do with some complicated issue that you're trying to solve between the fight you have with your mom or your partner or your kid. And somehow looking at this plant, it tells you something. And again, it's woo-woo. I'm all about the woo-woo. I love it. And that component of the connectivity and the interconnectivity is not to be ignored as well.
I mean, there's so much knowledge right in there. Like, I'm not sure if it's Rosemary Gladstar that says this statement or if it just came somewhere through United Plant Savers, but if you listen, they will teach you. And these plants can teach you in the most unexpected ways. And it is a spiritual experience. And
humbling.
Yes. My goodness gracious. Like how brilliant these plants are.
They really are.
Yeah. They really, really, really are. And like I said earlier, they know when to speak to you. Yeah. They'll call you out if you will listen. They will be like, hey, I am your friend right now.
Yeah. And that's the key part. If you listen, take that time to listen and they'll talk to you.
It's like that gift and skill of learning to listen to your body, right? Like I think our children are actually born with that. Yeah. And then we're taught to forget about it. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
What a bunch of gifts. Gosh, you are so much fun to talk to.
I'm so enjoying this. That's awesome.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I want to make sure I respect both of our time because side note listeners, Brittany and I may have talked for 45 minutes before hitting record for this episode. So I'm a little extra spoiled, but I also want to respect your time for the day. And I want to make sure that people can connect with you. Brittany has actually come and taught inside of some of my herbal programs. She taught on smokable herbs in Apothecary Mama, and she's going to be a guest teacher inside of the Community Herbalist Certification Program starting in January of 2025. I am super excited and honored to have her on board to teach everybody, because if you couldn't tell by this little interview, she's a blast and brilliant. So she also runs one-on-one consultations with people. She has an herbal product line. So if you want remedies that are freaking amazing, she's your gal. If you want to learn more, she teaches a ton and is definitely worthy of following. She runs Eudaimonia Herbs. That's where you can get most of her stuff, but I'll let you tell everybody else where they can find you too.
Sure. I mean, so on the socials, so on Instagram and TikTok, it's Eudaimonia Herbs. I'm going to spell that for y'all because it is challenging sometimes. So it's Eudaimonia herbs. It does mean to flourish and well-being, which kind of spoke to me. It has Greek origins. So that's Eudaimonia herbs. So you can find me. I'm mainly active on Instagram, but also sporadically active on TikTok. And of course, my website, I talk about workshops that I teach locally. And also there's different teas and tinctures and things or extracts that you can purchase on my website. And coming into the 2025, there'll be some other offerings upcoming on my website that I'm very happy about. So I hope you guys will check it out. And I'm also excited to be a part of your community herbalist program. I think that's going to be fabulous. And I'm looking forward to that as well. So
yeah, I'm always excited when I get to chat with you. It's fun. So fun to chat with somebody who's passionate about something that I am really passionate about, and just a really good time to talk to. So I appreciate you in all of the ways. I will definitely be linking to all of your socials and your website in the show notes of this episode, so people can absolutely find you, learn from you, embrace the great medicine that you as a being are, and of course, the great medicine that you create as well. So
thank you so much.
yeah, thank you so much, Brittany. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well. It's so nice to have a conversation, like you said, about something we're passionate about and just can speak on, and just helping to share this information with others. That is just such a wonderful thing. I love hearing how exuberant you are when you're talking, when you're doing your things that I see on social media, when I hear your podcast. It's just, it's refreshing. And so I'm just really happy that we connected, right?
Yeah, me too.
We're, able to do this. It's just very nice.
Awesome.
I'm appreciative and thankful.
Yay. Thank you so much. And I wish you a magnificent rest of your week. Rest of your year. It's the end of 2024.
Right? Da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
All right. Yes, you're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Herbalist Path. Being on this journey with you is absolutely incredible. If you dig this episode, please leave me a review on your favorite podcast player and share it with your friends so that together we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. On another note, I must mention that while I know you're getting some good info here, it's important to remember that this podcast is purely for entertainment and educational purposes and is not intended to be a substitute for medical treatment. While the information in this podcast is absolutely relevant, herbs work differently for each person and each condition. That's why I recommend you work with a qualified practitioner, whether that be another herbalist, a naturopath, or your doctor. So thank you again. I am truly honored that you're tuning into these episodes and on the path with me to make sure that there's an herbalist in every home again. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends so that we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. Have you ever wondered about the best ways to keep your kiddo's immune system ready to rock and roll when it comes to back to school season, or like when everybody's just heading indoors and everybody starts getting sick? Well, you don't have to wonder anymore. One of my absolute favorite companies on the planet is Oregon's Wild Harvest. And the cool thing is they make this kids version of echinacea. It's a glycerite with raspberry flavoring, and it is one of the things that my daughter has always loved. Like, she asks me for more echinacea when it comes from Oregon's Wild Harvest. So they are a fantastic biodynamic farm in Oregon, as you might have guessed. And I've met the whole family. They're absolutely beautiful. They put so much love and integrity in their products. And this kid's echinacea is going to keep your kiddo's immune system ready to fight off any of the viruses and bacteria and other nasty bugs that come along as we head into cold and flu season. And the people at Oregon's Wild Harvest are so amazing that they are going to give you a 15% off discount. I have dropped the code and the link to get your discount in the show notes of this episode. You should definitely check them out because they are cream of the crop. If you know anything about me and what it takes for me to recommend an herbal products company, then you know that Oregon's Wild Harvest has got it all going on. Okay, go ahead and grab that link and make sure your kiddos are ready to fight this cold and flu season.